Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Amazon could definitely use XRP Ledger's federated sidechains according to Ripple CTO. That's the headline from crypto media outlet You Today. And so I'll share with you in this video the specifics of what's being discussed, but I have to tell you, big picture, in terms of long-term viability and actual utility, which to me is ultimately going to be the most important thing, because any cryptocurrency that doesn't functionally solve a problem and isn't used to solve a problem, it's not going to be here for the long haul. That's what I believe. But the XRP Ledger, if David Schwartz gets what he wants, and not that he knows literally exactly what he wants, but in a general sense, if he gets what he wants, it seems to me that the XRP Ledger could be used for pretty much anything that a blockchain could potentially be used for. It would allow the XRP Ledger to potentially be used for that. The reason being, this technology that's being proposed, federated sidechains, seems to me to provide a lot of flexibility, let's say, even though we don't know exactly what it would look like if implemented at this point. So plenty to talk about, but I do want to be clear at the outset, I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say. All right, I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos as a fun hobby. But that's all that's going on here, damn it. And if you don't like it, you can get out. So let's jump into this piece here. Amazon could potentially use XRP Ledger's federated sidechains for its blockchain service, according to Ripple Chief Technology Officer David Schwartz. And by the way, for those of you that are new, you may not be familiar, but David Schwartz, Ripple CTO, he's one of 3 people that actually created XRP and the XRP Ledger, so he does know what he's talking about, I think it's fair to say. Now, piece continues. The executive told Thinking Crypto, that's another YouTube channel, definitely a pro XRP channel, but it's not an XRP centric channel. Anyway, the executive told Thinking Crypto that the e-commerce giant certainly has the required infrastructure to make this happen. And so here's the quote. Amazon could definitely, they certainly have the infrastructure to make this happen. What we need to do is to create software that's clean and organized enough. Then I think it could be very competitive. Then the piece continues. The architect of the XRP Ledger says that he would like to get to the point where it's very, very easy to build on top of the platform. And so where did all this stem from? What's it talking about? What are they actually getting at here? So in what capacity, in what way would Amazon potentially, or really any developer, benefit from this technology that's being discussed here, which again is federated sidechains? Well, you have to go back to this. This is a piece written by David Schwartz on June 7th this year, 2021, and it's titled, A Vision for Federated Sidechains on the XRP Ledger. And so, I'm going to be completely upfront with you. Like, I've been reading on this topic on and off since that was published a little over a week ago. I intentionally, when this news was out, I intentionally didn't discuss it because I didn't understand. Frank, I'm going to be real with you guys. It's not easy to get a handle on a lot of this tech stuff actually means, especially for people like me and probably most of you listening that don't have a strong tech background. And so all you could do, if you just look at the surface level stuff, is you could go to any crypto media outlet and you can read their articles about about like what this tech might mean, and you will not understand a damn thing. And in fact, I have to tell you, like, I'm not convinced that the people that write these articles, if they had to articulate what it means, like what they're writing, what it actually means, I don't think they could. I think that they write these confusing articles, and I guess it's to get clicks, and then their advertisers, I guess, like, they're still having to pay, so it works, I guess. But the people that are on these pages, I have to assume that there's no way that they walked away understanding what the hell it is that's being discussed. And so I had to read this thing a couple of times, this thing that David Schwartz wrote explaining this, and reading a few conversations. I was just reading, I didn't participate, but on Twitter, just a couple things back and forth, I got a better idea. And so now I'm at a point where, at least at a core level, I can share with you my understanding of what this all is. And look, I'm not going to pretend to know everything. So to me, this is always a community learning process. I want you to know what I know. And if I get any of this wrong, I apologize. I just know I'm operating in good faith. Just correct me in the comment section. Not a big deal. This is, I'm going to share with you my understanding to this point, and if you have anything additionally to add in the comment section, I would absolutely love to hear from you, because I'm not a know-it-all. I don't pretend to know everything, but I do believe at this point that I can articulate, sufficiently what the end goal is here, even though we don't know exactly what developers would do to develop on top of the potential end goal. I hope that makes sense there, because I'll tell you even right now, like it is not clear what types of things could be crafted by developers if we end up getting this technology here. And so essentially, David Schwartz, he's proposing that sidechains be developed for the XRP ledger. And so these would actually be new blockchains that are separate from the XRP ledger, but designed to work in tandem. And so in this case, I'd say this. So here's an important thing to understand. So the XRP ledger, it's designed to be used for payments, and it isn't trying to be all things to all people. There is no one blockchain that can be all things to all people, because different use cases benefit from different technological attributes, and certain technical attributes are at odds against one another, so you can't throw everything in. What if there's a use case where it makes sense to have no fees for a transaction? What if there's a use case where it makes sense to have high fees for a transaction? You can't at the same time on one blockchain have high fees and low fees. That's just one example, and there could be use cases potentially where that actually matters here. And you can consider this. When it comes to smart contract capability, this is something that was considered as the XRP ledger was being crafted initially. This type of what Ethereum ultimately became. Like these types of ideas were being discussed by the people that were creating the XRP ledger, but there were trade-offs, and so it was the XRP ledger ultimately it was designed specifically for payments. It's at its core level. It is blazing fast, extremely low transaction fees, fractions of a penny, and uses almost no energy. And so these are core things that matter that I don't think the community would ever want to give up. But if you start going the route that, for instance, as David Schwartz has talked about, he talked about with Tony from Thinking Crypto, he's talking about how Ethereum. Think about the trade-offs here, because if use the Ethereum blockchain, if you just want to transact Ethereum, send it from one account to another, the fees are outrageous because it's very costly, given that it's undergone tremendous adoption of decentralized finance. And so there's always going to be a trade-off here. And so again, the XRP ledger is designed to be used for payments and isn't trying to be all things to all people. There are specific technological advances that could have been implemented within the XRP ledger, but that would have made it, again, less desirable for payments, because there's always a trade-off. And so utilizing sidechains means there no longer has to be a trade-off of one thing over another. You'd still have XRP, what it is at its core level, that still exists. But that's a pretty damn good baseline, isn't it, in terms of how quick it is? Transaction fees, although as you'll see, I'll talk about it more in a second, but even transaction fees could be adjusted on a sidechain. But anyway, so XRP, it can be like, quote unquote, moved to sidechains, but technically, the XRP, it's always going to be used, it's always going to remain on the XRP ledger. And so basically on the XRP ledger, you could have XRP that's basically held in trust. It would be locked on the XRP ledger, and then once it's locked in place, then it could be used on a side chain, but it could have different technological attributes on a side chain. So instead of having, for instance, a 20 XRP reserve, which I'm sure many of you are aware, in order to start a new XRP account, you have to have 20 XRP in reserve, but you could have a side chain where that's not the case. It could be 0, or it could be 1,000. It could be whatever you want it to be. You could have XRP transactions that are literally free instead of costing just a fraction of a penny. Or you could have higher fees if you want. Whatever would make sense for a potential use case. And so what you're gathering is flexibility. But you also have, since XRP is already out there in the wild and it's one of the most liquid cryptocurrencies on the planet, that's a benefit. And so you could have additional centralized or decentralized systems built as side chains. That's my understanding. And so It's here's the thing too. It is not entirely clear what use cases would evolve from all of this flexibility. And David Schwartz is pretty upfront about that too. It is not clear exactly what would evolve from all of this, but it would make it easier to utilize XRP as a bridge currency between central bank digital currencies in particular if it results in more liquidity and more flexibility. Because if you're talking about more adoption in a general sense, well, clearly that's crucial. I mean, as it pertains to XRP as a bridge currency, liquidity is the name of the game, my friends. And so we'll have to see what all this looks like as things roll out. But, even when I jumped into crypto back in November of 2017, there were even back then people talking about like big companies like Uber and Amazon utilizing XRP specifically, being able to pay their employees in real time and move money around the planet. Because a lot of these problems that I've discussed on this channel for the last 2.5 years I've been running it, they're true for, in terms of converting from one fiat currency to another, from one bank to another bank in a different country. Like, you can actually have those problems within individual companies like Amazon because they operate in so many different countries. And so like they have their own friction in managing that, their own treasury. Like it's a nightmare, frankly, because they have to, so they've got their money wherever the hell they've got it. But like, what about managing that? What about juggling all of that? What about converting from one fiat currency to another? And so there were even back in 2017, there were always talks about Amazon or Uber or this or that, and there were always rumors spiraling about that stuff like that was going to happen, and that type of stuff can make sense. But to this point, all of that, adoption by Amazon, this or that, it's always just been rumors. But from a technological perspective, as you enter an increasingly liquid world, I do think you could see more of that because, and this is something I've talked about, and in this most recent interview between Tony and David Schwartz, like even David Schwartz was talking about this, but I've always said that we're going to continue to enter an ever increasingly liquid world, an increasingly tokenized world where all sorts of assets are tokenized. Because right now, one of the biggest problems when you're talking about anything finance related is that you basically have trapped liquidity. And so whether it's invested in real estate or this and that, pick whatever it is, it's not easy to get in and out of assets. And there's a lot of paperwork, and you got to make sure it's all done by the books. There's all sorts of laws and regulations that slow stuff down. But if you can have a system set in place that's sufficiently decentralized and you just have to trust the cryptography, if you can remove all that human interaction, then costs can go down, and transaction speed can go up. So getting in and out of, whether it's stocks or real estate or whatever, it can happen much, much faster. And so whatever these new use cases are going to be, whatever's built out, XRP can ultimately be at the core of a lot of it potentially. And another thing that David Schwartz was talking about is, because mind you, he created a cryptocurrency. He created XRP, which has been globally adopted. And he said that something that a lot of people just don't realize how difficult it is to do is just to distribute that cryptocurrency, get it into the wild, into the first place. Just because there's all sorts of, well, first of all, it's worth nothing at the start. But even if it is worth something, my gosh, you got tax implications. Like, how do you even get it out into the wild at this point? And so he kind of made the case too, like if you have an idea, that would benefit from a decentralized blockchain or whatever the use case would call for, you can actually take advantage of XRP's liquidity, and you wouldn't have to worry about distributing it. It all exists. But you could change the parameters of the blockchain so that perhaps it would work for your use case. And so that's the flexibility that I was citing at the beginning of the video. You can kind of get it to do more or less whatever it is that you want, because the baseline's there where it's blazing fast already. You already have that through. And that really comes down to its consensus algorithm, because there is no proof of work, there is no mining. So that's at the core of like the special sauce of why XRP is so damn quick. Because it's just, as it pertains to XRP, it's just about agreeing upon the order in which transactions occur, which is why the validators are not really validating anything on the XRP ledger. They're more so sequencers, just deciding on what orders transactions come in. And just the fact that there's lag time makes that a necessity to do. Because if you've got validators the world over, they're going to see transactions come in at different times. And so if you can just get the majority of validators say, well, I saw it coming at this time, I saw it coming at this time too. And if you get sufficient consensus, in this case with the XRP ledger, the threshold's 80%, then you can say, okay, that's the order the transaction occurred. You don't need 100% consensus. It doesn't matter. Nobody has the power to ultimately deny transactions either. And if you suffer, like, what would you suffer if your transaction, you're like, no, mine was first. You suffer what, a 2-second loss, and then you're in the next block. Like, so it doesn't matter. The order functionally doesn't matter. But in terms of getting this going too, I also do want to say, I don't want to forget this too. David Schwartz did write in this piece here, again titled "A Vision for Federated Sidechains on the XRP Ledger." He wrote that XRP ledger code itself would have to be changed though. And so these changes, now it wouldn't be designed to change how the XRP ledger itself operates, or the attributes that we've come accustomed to, enjoying with XRP in terms of practically free transaction speed. Like, none of that would actually change, but you'd need to change the code so that it could recognize a sidechain. And so that's not something that Ripple can just force do. That's not how this works. The XRP ledger is decentralized, so the community would actually have to want this. And it's not clear that the community would want this, even if it sounds useful on its core level. And to me, it does. It seems rather compelling what David Schwartz is talking about here. It's not like there's zero risk. What if something goes wrong? What if you think, oh, you've got all your ducks in a row, but validators vote to change this and it's implemented, but what if something entirely unforeseen goes wrong that would be detrimental? And I don't know what that would be, but there's always a what if. And so that's one thing that would have to, community would have to get over. And I don't know what else. There's all sorts of discussions going on out there about this, but I don't know exactly what this would look like here. So to sum it up here, just the bottom line for all of this, it just seems to me that XRP, the XRP ledger, is at its core excellent for payments. XRP, which is the native digital asset, has a ton of liquidity the world over. And so you can kind of piggyback off that if you just change a little bit of code to offer federated sidechains. Then you can run an entirely new blockchain, take advantage of everything that is XRP, but tweak it for other use cases. And so again, the thing here, we're talking about all this additional flexibility, and in a way, I admit it seems a little silly to me, but only because I'm sitting here asking myself, what will the use cases be? And I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's not true just of XRP. It's like, you look at the fact that there's over 8,000 cryptocurrencies on the planet. Almost none of them do anything. So if any of them are going to do something, my gosh, if we can get more developers to build off of the XRP ledger, even if that does mean starting these side chains, I think that's only going to be better for XRP adoption in general, and that increased liquidity, and new developers won't, if they don't want to, they won't have to worry about distribution of a new cryptocurrency because they can just have XRP represented on their blockchain. Or if they actually do want to go through the whole rigmarole of launching their own cryptocurrency on a sidechain, they've got that functionality too. David Schwartz is just kind of warning against these, saying, hey, okay, I've been through this, just so you know. You might run into more headaches than you think you might getting out of the gate here. So that's pretty much where we are. It really is mostly, from what I can tell, just about the flexibility of this. And I think that's something that we can all understand, even if I'm sure most of you are like me, not coders. Like, we don't understand the guts of how the tech works. Like, I understand what TCP/IP is. It's the glue of the internet, which is basically a network of networks. I couldn't tell you how it works, though. I don't know how the actual code operates, and most humans aren't. We just need to understand at a fundamental level what all of this is and what the potential is, and things just change so quickly. That's where the struggle is, but there is utility to be had. I mean, you can look at decentralized finance. You can look at, there really will be something to that. I'm firmly convinced about that. You can look at non-fungible tokens, as ridiculous as some of the buying and selling of those things has gotten. There's something to it. And so I don't know where all the adoption is to occur, but it allows people to do things that they absolutely could not otherwise do. So cryptocurrencies are here to stay, and the more flexibility you have with the XRP ledger, the better in a general sense. So I find David's arguments in that sense to be rather compelling. I just don't know what the damn use cases are going to be. Now, for XRP, I do know it. It as a bridge currency, settling to XRP using a blend of XRP and interledger protocol with Coil, which offers a third form of web monetization, and there are others out there too. I get it, there's already utility, but allowing the additional flexibility for the long haul could be appealing, because then you'd have developers building right there instead of elsewhere. Now that I like, but let me know what you think. I'm still admittedly learning about all this stuff, and the whole world's only been learning for it about a week and a half at this point, so not pretending to know everything. And if you think that I am a little off or anything, let me know. I'm an open book here and happy to be corrected. I don't get offended by that. I actually appreciate it. And if you know additional things that would be useful to share, let me know. And if I share it in a future video, I will be sure to credit you. I always want to give credit where it's due. But I will wrap up there. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.